Day. Well, we're going to keep it going here. We've got the Weather Channel here for you, helping you plan all of your big events ahead, including what could happen with all the rain this week. We've got two areas to watch. One in the plains, another in the west. Both have big amounts of precipitation coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about just how wet and unsettled it's been in the west all winter long. Of course, snowy as well, but also back into the middle of the country, parts of the plains, parts of the mid-south. It's been very, very soggy there, and now we're bringing additional rain into those areas.
Spring break season has begun. We're going to take you to some hot spots where people are going, take you to two of our favorite spots as well.
Yes, indeedy. And how about flying on hydrogen power?
Yes.
That could be something, right?
So today we're talking about 3D printing. We're talking about hydrogen as a fuel source. A lot of innovation.
I mean, is this pattern?
I know, right? Steph, we're stealing your show. No, she's on her way out. All right, Alex, going to be a spot where we see some wintry weather coming in. But let's take you back to the Twin Cities. Minneapolis, we've had a lot of snow. I'm going to show you the stats. We're going to change the landscape again. Already, we actually have a snowpack on the ground. We're going to bring in more snow. And some of that snow could be heavy at times. We're going to be adding up. We're going to be adding to the snowpack. The snow could actually start blowing around in some wind as well. Let's get to all of it, Minneapolis. Here's your winter so far. We've had 74.7 inches of snow. That's well above the average of 51 inches, and the record snowy season is 98. I'd say we have a chance at this. It's only March, and we know how long it can snow up here into the spring season. So we got Minneapolis this week with the forecast right now from Wednesday to Friday, going for about 3 to 5 inches across town, east side of town to get about 4, maybe a little bit more over to the western side of town, the St. Paul area. Now we're looking at winter storm warnings, dark blue, winter weather advisories, the lighter blue, winter storm watches here in the bright blue. Now those could either become winter weather advisories or winter storm warnings. It just depends on the impacts to the local area. So let's take a look at what's coming together, the pieces. There's two things I want to point out on this water vapor. One is that we've got our system still spinning here over the west, kind of see that big trough dipping on in, little disturbances within that. Those are going to ride up over here into the upper Midwest. But also we've got this pretty persistent plume of moisture. You see that sort of fetch of water vapor moving in from the southwest. That's the moisture. And you have to have a lot of moisture to get the kind of snow totals that we're expecting in parts of North Dakota and South Dakota. We see that moisture lifting northward. And for today, we're going to watch that upper disturbance move on in. So snow will be on the increase. And then it spreads to the east as we get through the middle of the week. Snow showers out there already in Bismarck, Rapid City. The cold air is there as well. Snow showers on the move by tonight into Minnesota, perhaps parts of Iowa as well. And then I think really the Wednesday and the Thursday, Friday system, that's the one that taps into more of it, more upper level energy, more moisture coming on in. That snow could be heavier at times, really disrupting travel. Even if it's only 3 or 4 inches, we're going to have issues on the roadways. It'll be cold enough. Chicago even can get some snow out of this. Detroit, Cleveland, what a winter Cleveland, or lack of winter Cleveland. Don't think you're getting a ton out of the system though. Everything else farther either to the north or to the northern plains where we have 8 to 12 inches in the forecast. Alex, how's it going in California after all of our snow?
I'd say...
We're going to go in depth on pollen here. First of all, the pollen problem is different by season. In the springtime, it's usually tree, and then grass pollen works in as you get later in the season.
That's right. And then as we continue into summer, now you start talking about the grass and the weeds. And then really once we get into fall, yes, there's pollen in the fall.
Yeah.
Weed is the culprit at that time.
Sometimes mold becomes an issue, though, too,
that is true.
By the fall. All right, so right now, some of the hot spots, Atlanta, we talked about you, but also Tupelo, Mississippi, Dallas, all have high reports of pollen coming in, and tree pollen is the biggest culprit.
Right on schedule. I mean, when you look at the map, I mean, it just exploded here for us all across the southern tier. We're in that darkest shade of the red, very high for us in these areas. And what we'll notice is as we work our way through the weeks ahead, that area is going to migrate and push northbound.
I mean, it's already getting up into northern Virginia. We're talking about the cherry blossoms in D.C. blooming early, about a week or two early. Now, what's going on? How did we get to this point and get those levels so high? Well, when you get pollen counts so high when you have increased rain, late fall and winter, mild wintertime temperatures, and an early last freeze. We've had all of these things. The last freeze for cities like Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, February 18th.
There you go. There you go. And
not to mean we couldn't have one yet, but that's where we're at.
That's where we are at. And the winter has no doubt been a mild one. We look at all these cities here in the south, and almost all of them are sitting in the top 5 in terms of being the top 5 warmest winters on record.
Yeah, so we had all of those things. That's where the check comes on in. And unfortunately, rain can sometimes make it a little worse. We got more rain coming.
We sure do. Well, of course, some students might be.
Well, just as the sun sets in the west, you look to the east and the full moon will be rising. But also in the sky tonight, we've got the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter showing up right after sunset. So you want to look to the west-southwest for that.
Lots of opportunities to sky watch here for us. Of course, one thing that is very key when it comes to watching the sky, cloud cover, right?
Yes. We got a lot of it in the forecast here, expecting 100% cloud cover in Bismarck, Minneapolis, Chicago, Kansas City. Not so great for viewing either the planets or our full moon.
Yeah, you're looking at a better situation, though, as you work your way off towards the east into the mid-Atlantic, D.C., Baltimore, back towards the south, the ATL, not too bad, and even down into Florida. That's where the sky should be unobscured.
Take you out to Minneapolis, where we already have snow on the ground. So now we're going to bring in more snow yet again. It has been a winter for us here in the Twin Cities. The snowfall picks up as we get you through the next 2 days, and some of that snow could be blowing around in the wind a bit as well, adding to what we've had so far this season, 74.7 inches of snow. Our average winter is 51, so we're well above average. We're tracking a top, I think we're at top 20 right now, snowiest on record, and the record snowiest season is 98.6. Do we have a chance of that? I would think so. I mean, we know how long it can snow well into April here into Minnesota. Let's check out this particular series of storms because it's really 2 that come through this week. It'll add up to about 4 to 5 inches, maybe 6 or so on the west side of town coming in. All right, so let's talk more about details because we already have snow out there. Winter weather advisories are up for that in Montana and North Dakota. Winter storm warning up into South Dakota, including around Mobridge. For now, we've got a winter storm watch in Minnesota and Iowa. We'll see if those become a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning. Now, where everything is coming in out of the west, we'll be watching for this system coming out of that big trough that we have over the northwest. Plus, at the same time, you kind of see this like general flow of the water vapor coming all the way up here. Well, we're going to be watching for the moisture coming in, and that's going to be why we do get to add up to so much snow in the Dakotas. It's an energetic system, but also this moisture gets pulled north as we get through the sort of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday timeframe. Watching this all come together, today we'll see snowfall out there. We already see a little bit of snow, like around Bismarck this morning. There'll be more. Bismarck is sitting at 3 with snow. We still don't have even clouds yet in Fargo, but that's going to be on the increase, and we'll get some snow for you. We dropped down sub-zero in Fargo overnight underneath those clear skies. That was our problem. All right, let's get you into today's forecast with snow showers, maybe even scooting through Minneapolis again, but really no big deal kind of snow. The bigger deal comes in Wednesday, Thursday, moving Friday all across the Great Lakes. Chicago, that includes you. We've got some snow chances. Detroit, yes, probably not like what we saw last weekend with the thunder snow, but we could get a couple more inches. And the biggest snow will fall in North Dakota and South Dakota, 8 to 12 inches of snowfall. So, surely, Alex, though, this is nothing to like what we're dealing with.